Today is Saturday, June 6, 2015, and this is the Bunny Slippers of Evil Job Seekers Call-In Show, presented by Evil Bunny Consulting. I'm your host, Tyrone Griffin, and if it's 3 p.m. and you have on your bunny slippers, you are not looking for a job. Welcome first-time and returning listeners. In this show, we discuss strategies and tactics of job search, staying motivated and dealing with career transition. For more tips, resources, daily motivations, and to listen to archive shows, go to the website bunnyslippersofevil.com. There you will also find links to our Facebook page, our Twitter handle, and our YouTube channel. If you are listening live, you can call in with your questions at 347-202-0929. Again, that number is 347-202-0929. Now, a word from our sponsors. Evil Bunny Consulting is the alternative to expensive outplacement. They give company-sponsored job seeker workshops as well as the one-on-one job seeker bootcamp. For more information, go to www.bunnyslippersofevil.com. Resume Edit is the low-cost, high-quality resume writing company with resumes as low as $35, written by certified resume writers. You can find them online at www.resume4edit.com or call 404-860-2473. Be sure to tell them you heard about them on the Bunny Slippers of Evil Job Seekers podcast. Let 3dresumes.net turn your resume into a web page with a customized domain for 12 months for only $30. Help hiring managers and recruiters find you, make your resume available 24/7, and get a professional, personalized email address just for your job search. You can see my online resume at tyronegriffin.com, and for more information on how to get your own, go to 3dresumes.net. If you are thinking or about to look for a job in today's world, you will find a new reality in the job search process. The world has changed. Job search today is much more complicated than 5 years ago. Volumes of resumes, more applicant screening processes, depersonalized applications, panel interviews, team hiring, long complicated applications, branding, and social media. Yes, the world has changed. But have you? Are you still trying yesterday's approach? Why struggle and miss out on today's opportunity? Career Oyster is here to help. Great coaches, the latest resources, unique strategies personally tailored to your job search. Find out the new reality and how you can prevent costly mistakes. To register for a free 45-minute private session with head coach Howard Caddy, go to www.careeroyster.com. Find out the facts. You'll be glad you did. Remember their motto: the world is your oyster, be the pearl. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome. If I seem a little off today and I got my little gray showing a little bit, I apologize. I took a week off and I'm enjoying the heck out of this thing. So I apologize. Got a little bit different surroundings for those watching on video. I was taking a week off, but back to work on Monday. So I apologize if I look like a mess right now. But anyway, let's start with today. Let's talk about today's show. The topic is the power of positivity. And this is a topic in various ways I've talked about on this show many, many times, about just being positive and optimistic. So if there was anything that this show, if you want to think that this show is about one thing, this is the one thing the show is about. It's about being positive in your life and having a positive outlook. Having a positive outlook is very easy when things are going well. It's when things are not going well that having a positive outlook becomes very important. But I want to take you back, and it's probably something I've talked about maybe once or twice on this show. Back many, many years ago when I was in college, I heard a speech by a gentleman who was a vice president for Cigna, an insurance company. Man's name was Thurman Evans, and I think he's deceased now. But this speech he gave, really stuck with me. And it wasn't the whole speech that stuck with me. It was literally the last 2 or 3 minutes of the speech that really really got me. And what he did was, I was with Howard University's intern school at the time, and we were in Hartford, Connecticut, and we were, visiting different insurance companies and so on. And the speech, he talked about a lot of different things, but at the end of the speech, he had somebody come up, and he had them put their arms. He said, "Stand here with your arms out. I want you to hold this. No, 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 no. I apologize. Let me back up. Let me back up." He had two students come up, and the first one, he's had him stand there, and he just basically ripped into this kid about. He didn't know the kid, but he ripped into him about all the negative stereotypes of people of color. He ripped into him. I mean, your people are lazy. You're this, you're that. You didn't have a bunch of kids out of wedlock. He went off for about 2, 3 minutes on this kid in front of everybody. And, you got like 50 or 60 kids that are sitting there listening to this, and you're just pissed. It's the only word I can say. Just pissed. Listening to this black man just rip into this young African American kid. So then at the end of the speech, he said, "Okay, now put your hands out." I said, "I want you to hold this book in your hand. Just hold it up, and don't let me push the book down." And young man held the book out in his hand, and Mr. Evans put his hand on the book, and kid's arm dropped immediately. Apologize, I'm remembering that a little. I remembered it differently. It wasn't two kids, it was one. So the same kid. After he'd given him this, just ripped into him with his speech and told him to hold the book out, and he couldn't hold it. Then he said, "Okay, now let me tell you another side of you, your people," which he said. And he just praised people of color, black people. He praised us. He was very positive. He talked about only the best slaves were selected in Africa, and only the best slaves made it across the middle passage to America, to what became America, or whatever country the slave ships were sailing to. And only of those, only the best survived when they got here. And of those, only the best survived the last 200 or 300 years, the generations. It was always took just only the best could make it. And and so basically told the kid, you are a product of the best of the best of the best of the best of the best, and you should be very proud and honored to be here because you made it. Your people made it, and just filled the person with pride. And when it was over, he sorry, I have something in my mouth. He told the kid, "Now hold the book up. Hold your hand out. Hold the book up." And he did the same experiment he had done maybe 3 minutes earlier. Hold the book out and don't let me push it down. And the kid's arm didn't move. Same kid. All of a sudden, he found this newfound strength. Why? It wasn't because he went and got buff and worked out between the two times. It was because of what was in his head. I never forgot that. I mean, I was in college at the time, and I never forgot that speech. But I never forgot the effect that speech had on this young person. That was one of my first, that I recall, interactions with somebody who showed me what could happen in your life, or how you can change in your life based on how you think. This show was originally designed just for people in transition. That is one of the hardest things to deal with in life. I mean, there are things that are harder, and a lot of those, what's hard and what isn't, can sometimes depend on your personal makeup. Some people will say the hardest thing to deal with is divorce, or loss of a child, or loss of a spouse, or loss of a house. It depends on your makeup. But I would say for most people, losing a job is pretty high up there. when I started this show, it was about just for people in transition. It was because that is the one time, well, that is one of the times when you're not yourself, or you are more yourself than you probably are in other times. But being able to have a positive outlook on life at that time can only help you. When you're out looking for a job, I've had people on here, I've had career coaches, as you know, I've also had actresses on here. And the one thing we always talked about was, how do you keep going? And the way you keep going is with a positive attitude. Um, I'll tell you my own personal story. At one point in my career, over a 1 year span with two different jobs, um, I went from having a very sorry, that was my alarm went off because it's early in the morning, 7:11, just like the store. Um, the reason I'm doing this early is because I got some places to go today. I got to see a giant mouse. Um, but I'm saying, in my life, oh, I was saying in my personal story. I apologize. I got my notes here, but I lost track of where I was. I I saw personally what the benefit of positive thinking can do for you. During a 1 year period, I went from a job where I was on probation for not for performance. I went from there to a year later in a better job, higher paying job, um, job I was happier with. And in that short of time, I became, in my opinion, in my manager's opinion, um, a great asset. Um, One of the things I did during that time, and I make I don't try to hide my faith in God, but that was one of the things I did was I trusted God. There's a quote, and I don't know who did it, but it says, "As I look back on my life and I realized that every time I thought I was being rejected for something good, I was being redirected to something better." And I believed that. And during that time, one of the things I believed that quote, but also I just started getting up every day and just saying, "God, tell me what to do every day." Okay, God. I would sit down to write my to-do list out. Okay, God, tell me what to do. Okay, God, tell me what to do every day. You know, and then I started writing my to-do list. One thing I did was I started writing in longhand. And for those of you out there who don't understand what that is, remember cursive that you learned in school? I started writing everything in cursive. It takes longer to write your notes because you got to remember what the letters look like. But what I found out, in addition to taking a little longer, it made me think every step through more. Everything I had to do, it made me think about it. Because we get caught up, not caught up, but we get used to just writing notes, um, quickly, just printing out, you know, quick notes here and there. And if you have a notebook or wherever you keep your notes of what you're going to go through during the day, things your to-do list, and you just erase a letter and keep going, and make a mistake, erase a letter, keep going. When you write longhand, it's a lot harder to just erase a letter. So that little simple thing um, made me start thinking more about what I was doing and be more. It just helped me to focus better. But it sounds funny. One of the side effects, and this is when I realized it was positive thinking. This might sound really crazy, but to some people you will understand this. Um, I played in Scrabble, Words with Friends, for years with a few people, and I had a few people who I used to play with, And I mean, you talk about people that crushed me. And that's a nice way of putting it. Crushed me regularly. And over time, I know it was partially due to just playing it over and over, but it was also due to my positive. I went from a negative, and don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying I always had this great positive outlook on life. I didn't. When I was going through that hard times, it was hard to stay positive. It was very hard. But there are also outside forces as well, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But anyway, I was playing, Words with Friends, and over that time, I became a lot more competitive. A game became a lot easier, and I guess my point is what I'm saying is because of my mental outlook stayed positive versus negative. It showed up in weird places in my life. When I say weird, it were places that I didn't expect that it would show up. One was in this game, playing this game. I think about people like I just saw a video this morning when I was getting ready for the show. A woman drew a beautiful picture of Robin Williams. She did it with pencils, but it looked like a photograph. And I thought about his life and how it ended with suicide. And I will not begin. I will not even assume that I understand depression. I've known people that have been depressed, but I won't say I understand. I'm not even going to begin to even start to say that I know what drives somebody when they're depressed. I will say I've seen the effects of it. We've all seen, many, well, famous people. Like Robin Williams is one person who, according to police reports, again, I'm not going to try to act like I know some inside information, but I believe it said it was partially depression that got him. That's the power of negative thought. This show is about the power of positivity. The power of negativity is just as strong, or if not stronger in some cases. I won't begin to say I understand suicide. There are many reasons. There are people who just get up. There was a little girl, just on Facebook this past week. Her father made her cut off all of her hair, and she was so distraught that she committed suicide. I won't begin to understand what was going through her head. I won't begin to say that I know what makes people tick like that. But it's sad that anybody would feel so bad. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with them. It's just it happens. But I feel it's sad that somebody could feel so bad about themselves, about the future, about whatever, that they would choose to not want to live anymore. Job search can do that to you. As I have told you on this show, I had a karate student who took his own life. And at the time, he was out of work, looking for a job. It's one of the reasons why I try to help as many people as I can, because you never know who's out there going through something really bad, and you just don't know it. So I always try to help people. I'm not saying I do help them, but I try. That's all I want. I just want to try. People in job search transition, it is imperative that you keep a positive outlook, positive attitude. I always equate job search to dating, and it's no different here. You want a woman, you want a date, you want somebody bad, and that smell of desperation. When I was younger, I remember 5th to 8th grade, man, I wanted a girlfriend so bad. Why? Because everybody had one, and I like girls. That's just it. I wanted a girlfriend, didn't have one, and I remember in the 9th grade. It sounds really crazy, but I remember in the 9th grade, it was like, man, I'm never gonna have somebody. I'm never gonna, not, but I'm never gonna have somebody. By the way, the people watching the video of this, you're probably getting a lot more of these jokes than the people just listen to the audio. So I encourage you to go out and listen and watch the video. But that affected me for a long time. You know, that I won't say it was depression, it was nowhere near. It was just a little kid just wanted a girlfriend, didn't have one. And I can tell you how it affected me going, for years, not having a girlfriend, not feeling wanted. Let me put it like that. Let me stop saying not having a girlfriend. But it was not having a girlfriend. But it just the feeling of being wanted, of feeling like a social outcast, maybe, or whatever, feeling like you're ugly, feeling like all these things that go into your mind. Um, but getting back to in job search, you get a lot of there's a lot of great places. I'll say down here in the Atlanta area, there are a lot of meetings and things like that that will help keep your attitude positive. But sometimes, some places people are, you may be in Utah, you may be in Wyoming or somewhere where there's the job networking, the job search network is not as robust as it is here. And if that's the case, there's nobody doing a regular pat you on the back to say, hey man, keep going, keep going. Um, but you got, you got to go. Let me tell you, here's an example. Change up, stop being so down. Um, There's a book called, The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. And I won't say I've read it, but the title alone tells me what I need to know. If you ever heard anything called positive talk, where you talk to yourself about good things in your life. You talk to yourself about how good you are. You talk to yourself. People might think you're crazy, but some of the most famous people have probably done this. The most successful people have probably done this. They keep themselves pumped up when nobody else will. Um, there's a thing called in medicine called the placebo effect, and that's literally when you give somebody I guess a water pill or whatever, and you tell them it's a medicine, and their body reacts as if it is the medicine and heals itself. You tell somebody this is gonna once you make somebody believe this is the pill that is going to cure whatever. I mean, the placebo effect is something that they do in experiments when they do studies on different drugs and things. That's one of the things that they do is they do a placebo effect. They give a certain percentage of the study group a placebo, which is a nothing, and just to see what happens. And a lot of times, it's interesting if you believe strong enough, you what was it? The song "If You Believe" was in the Prince of Egypt. If you believe, then your body will take care of itself. If you believe, there are documented cases of people that had, different things, cancers or whatever, um, and they've healed themselves because they believed. That's the power of positive thinking. That's the power your mind has. As parents, and I'm a parent now. I've been one for a while, but our job is to instill in our children the ability to be positive, to think positive, to never let your kids think this is all there is, to never let your kids wonder or start to believe that, you know what, I've achieved this and this is as far as you can go. Particularly if you're raising your children in a community that's maybe poorer than most communities, um, doesn't have a lot of resources, you know. You have to raise your kids to want to get out. That's your job as a parent, is to prepare your child for life, but to prepare them to have a positive attitude because that's where strength comes in. Okay, I remember Mike Tyson used to fight, and I remember talking about the old Mike Tyson back when he was in his early 20s, when he was knocking out trees and stuff. Mike got in the ring, and there's no man on the planet that could beat Mike. No one. Mike had that positive attitude because 99.9% of the time he was right. He was knocking people out in the first round. For those of you who don't know, Mike Tyson individually killed pay-per-view for many years. People paid $40 for a fight. It lasted 40 seconds. It's not a good return on investment. Anyway, Optimism. A couple of things I read, and I'm going to put some links in the show notes about some things, places I found some of the information I did. But optimists reflect on the good things of life. They reflect even the minor good things. If you're out job searching, like, well, you know what, I'm not positive because I didn't get a job today. But did your car start? Was there food in your refrigerator? Did your lights come on when you turned them on? Okay. Do you have somebody in your house that says, you know what, I still love you? Those are the positive things you need to reflect on. They are grateful and thankful. Be grateful for even for the small things. Stop waiting to hit Powerball and be thankful that your car started again. Okay. They don't complain. Complaining really has never helped anybody. You can say, well, it's venting, it's getting it off your chest. No, it's not really just complaining. It's just complaining because you're mad. Okay, it's your pity party. Positive people, optimistic people feel that nothing can hold them back. They feel like if I work hard and ethically and sincerely and truly work hard, I'll achieve everything I want to achieve. Optimistic people don't blame themselves for their failures. They just basically say stuff happens and move on. A lot of people get caught up in, I made a bad decision and I should have done this and they make their yesterday affect their tomorrow because they're so caught up in looking at what happened yesterday and dwelling on what happened yesterday that they forget that, oh, there's another train coming down the track tomorrow and I need to be on that one. Okay. Read this great quote by Anais Nin. I probably am pronouncing that name extremely wrong, but it said, "We don't see things as they are. We see things as we are." Think about that a minute. When you see something, it's not about what's going on. It's your interpretation of it. So if you're in a bad frame of mind, everything you see is not going to be pretty. Okay, that's just reality of it. We've got about 2 minutes left. This week I rambled. I probably went down some rat holes. The drinking game, folks, you guys are probably just guzzling it down. But I hope my message that I tried to get across, I hope you got it. And all I'm trying to say is be positive. No matter what happens to you, stay focused and be positive. Okay? You are greater than where you are. I know things may not look great for you right now in a lot of different situations. Don't worry about that. Just keep going. Just keep thinking positive. There's nothing good can come from thinking negative. What was it? It was Maya Angelou. One of the quotes I saw was, hate has caused a lot of pain or something, a lot of wars, but it never solved anything. Think about that. Hate, what has it ever caused? Depression, anger, frustration. I know things don't always go well. I'm not sitting here on some high on the hill because my life always went well. I could say there are things in my life that have sucked. I could. It's not going to make them suck any less. Maybe make them suck more. That didn't come out right, but you know what I meant. But being negative, being anything other than optimistic, it has never helped anybody. Okay? Excuse me, I apologize, it's early in the morning. Even in a war, being negative never helped anybody. It feels good. It's that comfort feeling of being negative. Ooh, I just love my negativity. But it doesn't help. It really doesn't help. So stay positive, people. I know it's easier said than done, but just stay positive, stay focused. And thanks for listening. If you are listening on the website, 7 in the morning, feel free to subscribe in iTunes. And if you like the show, please leave feedback so others can find the show, and I truly appreciate it. If you have a suggestion for a topic that you'd like me to cover on the podcast or on one of my 1-minute bunny tips, please send that topic to me at Tyrone@bunnyslippersrevel.com. When you land, please don't forget us. Please support this show by visiting our Cafe Press store and buying a t-shirt, a water bottle, a coffee mug, clock, or a sweatshirt. So you'll have a memento of your time in transition. I don't want you to forget this time. The moment you do, you put yourself in a position where you'll be right back here again. With that, as always, people, thank you so much. And we will talk next week at the regular time. Take care and have a great and strong week. Bye bye.